Doot. Oh, I'm typing on my temp pad. Oh, well, hello there.
Oh, well, hello there. We didn't rehearse this at all.
In a world. Wait, I got to change my in a world to in a timeline. Which timeline are you coming from, Graeme?
I am from an alternate timeline, so I am alternate Graeme. We had a Nexus event a couple of days ago. Graeme, the other Graeme, has been pruned, I'm afraid.
Well, no, you had a Nexus event 30 days ago. You've been off social media. You've been gone, and everybody's been wondering, where's Graeme?
I did, and to be honest with you, it's been really nice.
Yeah.
It was good.
So you kind of rebooted your whole life, got a new perspective, got a new look on things. How did that go?
I did. I spent a lot of time driving an ATV, volunteering at a summer camp, and going on vacation. And I tried to read some books. They're both still sitting right there. Man. I mean, I just took a break. And now, I'm just planning to use it sparingly. I mean, that's really, originally I thought I was going to do it like only Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was going to like time box how I use social. Mm-hmm. But what I've decided is to do more of a just stop freaking out on it and leave it alone. So that's basically what I'm doing. And it's fine. It was a healthy break. Ryan, you should consider the same thing.
I think you're right. I've done that. I finally took your advice, and
you have done that.
I think I'm pretty much done with Facebook, other than talking to like private fan groups for things that I really care about. So, so that's all good stuff. So we've had some wonderful guests since you've been gone. We've had Jen, we've had Susie, we've had Pamela, we've had Tim. We've had a lot of folks that have filled in while you were away that had
awesome.
Good discussions. We had a discussion on Loki. We had another discussion on Loki. We talked a lot about Loki while you were away. I know you were on the show with Christina, where we really like summed up the whole series, and that was nice a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
But we talked about space tourism last week, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because we're going to bring Jen back for when you can be on the show, when we can be together, the three of us, to talk more in depth about the experience at the spaceport, some of the upcoming things. The Boeing Starliner, I think, has a test firing on the 31st, which is tomorrow.
I thought there was something going on today.
Well, I'm pretty sure
I guess
it's the
not.
31st.
I'm looking.
But it's unmanned, and there's not a lot of news around that at the moment. But one thing I do want to announce, newsworthy here, is that we had another WeeksEnd trivia contest, and I'm happy to announce that Adam Dannewitz is the lucky recipient of a Fisher space pin. So nice job, Adam, for answering our space tourism trivia last week.
Classic Dannewitz.
Yeah, Dannewitz, he nailed it. So let's get into it. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm in a different venue today.
Oh, you do appear to be.
What do you think that is?
I think it looks nice, but I'm concerned that there's major structural issues with the load-bearing structures. I think the whole building should be condemned, to be honest with you.
You're probably right. So I don't know if you saw this, everybody out there that's watching WeeksEnd, but Graeme and I, one of my things, I don't know, like, let me start it this way. What were the jobs that you sort of wanted to be when you were in, like, elementary school going into middle school? Because I'm going to tell you, Ghostbusters was up there for me.
Yeah, so I think it was aerospace chief executive. Literally, that's what I said on the interview for a private school I went to at one point. And it was the stupidest thing ever. But anyway, I at one point wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, but then I realized I don't like the sight of people injuries. Well, actually, then I broke my leg in a sort of catastrophic skiing accident, and that changed that. Let's see. I also was interested in being an astronaut.
Yes.
And perhaps you know what I really wanted to do? I know you're waiting for me to say Ghostbuster, and I'm going to say Ghostbuster. But what I really wanted to do was work for a major tech company where I could make PowerPoints for other people. That's what I really wanted to do.
I know that's not right.
No, I wanted to be a Ghostbuster, and it looks like you're in the Ghostbusters headquarters.
You know what? Everybody, I think, wanted to be a Ghostbuster after seeing that film. So
they did.
I mean, classic I mean, so what's your favorite character? Because for me, I think I love Winston, and I love all of them, but I love Bill. I most identified with Bill Murray's character just because he was like the psychologist, and he played pranks, and he was the playful guy, and I wanted to be that because I was completely not that as a kid. I was a shy, introverted, nerdy kid, right?
This guy?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get into. What else does he say?
I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it.
I'm excited to be part of it. I love how he does that.
Nice.
Hey, anybody see a ghost? I always love that too. Which character did I identify with the most? Well, I know you probably want me to pick a Ghostbuster, right? And I'm sure other people are like, oh, Slimer, because he eats a lot. And some people would obviously say Janine Melnitz because she's arguably the hardest working of the group. And you might think that I would say Ivo Shandor or maybe even Vince Clortho, perhaps Louis Tully before he became, or maybe even Dana before she became a dog. But no, I'm going to go with the Ecto one because it's just so cool.
Oh man, see, I just feel like you're constantly trying to outdo me with the name dropping and the references, and kudos to you, sir.
What can I say? But which Ghostbuster am I? I'd go with Ray.
Which Ghostbuster?
Ray was my favorite.
Yeah.
I liked the way Ray worked.
All right. Well, let's talk about the legacy of Egon today because there is a new trailer out. Well, I guess the final trailer, right? So this is like we're in kind of the final marketing phase for Ghostbusters Afterlife or Ghostbusters 3, if you want to refer to it as that. And it's coming out in Thanksgiving, I believe, this year. So
November. Yes, I believe that is right.
According to the new trailer, Thanksgiving. So it says it's a theater exclusive. How do you feel about that? You definitely want to see it in the theater, right?
I do, and I will definitely be in the theater for that one. 100%, definitely, I'm there.
So even if you have to wear a full-blown respirator, stormtrooper, something.
Dude, with the way this Delta variant is going, who knows what will happen? But let's just say everything's relatively quiet. I'm happy to wear a mask if I have to. I don't mind returning to mask wearing anyway. I'm vaccinated, but if I have to, that's fine, especially with the new CDC regulations. But yeah, I'm excited to go to the theater again and see Ghostbusters. I saw 1 and 2 in the theaters when I was a kid. I saw the 2016 Ghostbusters in the theater, and I really enjoyed it. The one with the all-female cast, I thought it was a ton of fun. And I'm excited to get back to the theater. So, yes, I will go see Ghostbusters. And, Egon's legacy, I like the fact that they found a way to include him in the new film. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer, I want to warn you that nothing we're saying is spoilers because it's all. Hold on a minute. This is my neighbor.
Is Mobius trying to break through on the temp pad? What's happening?
No, it's Hunter B-15. Hold on.
Oh boy. Well, important business, folks. What's happening in the hood there?
I don't know. There's some sort of shenanigans. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Carry on without me for a minute.
All right. Well, while Graeme is away for a couple of minutes, I want to talk about the premise of Afterlife is essentially that the grandkids of Egon, the main scientist in the original film, they inherit a farmhouse. Farmhouse is crumbling. It's going to dust. It's the typical thing where, the kids who look like they're like middle schoolish age, kind of like the same age as the kids from Stranger Things, they're moving out in the middle of nowhere. They're not happy about it. There's a bunch of junk around the house. There's a mysterious barn where they find Ecto-1. You see all this in the trailer. But they're enterprising young kids. They get it running and they take it for a joyride, which is what you see in the promotional materials, the posters, the trailer itself. They go for a joyride in the Ecto-1, and then hilarity ensues, of course, and they start to uncover a mystery. So basically, Graeme, I was catching folks up on sort of the premise, the baseline premise of the kids the family inherit a farmhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, I think it looks like a ton of fun. I'm excited about this film. I apologize to our tens of viewers that I had to go out and investigate a potential riff in the timeline there for a second. Actually, my neighbor was just freaking out about something. But anyway, I think, look, the first Ghostbusters is obviously incredible. The second one was strained and had issues. I get that. I enjoyed it. But this one really looks like Jason really worked with the vision of the original, clearly worked with his father. I know his father was on set all the time.
Yeah.
To sort of restore us to something that could really, truly be Ghostbusters. And I'm really excited about this movie. I have been since they announced it. I have been since they teased it. I have been since the first trailer came out. Second trailer looks even better. I mean, seeing Gozer rise up out of a boiling, weird pit in the ground is very exciting.
Yep.
Seeing Ray answer the phone, getting the sense that it was Ray that answered the phone at the end was exciting.
Yep.
Seeing somebody pick up a PKE meter and it's clearly not the kids. It's obviously one of the Ghostbusters picking up a PKE meter, meaning Ray. I think it's Venkman's hand personally. So unless it's a flashback of what is supposed to be Egon, which is also possible, because they have said that
I think it's the kids I think they're uncovering, I think they're recovering and restoring the tech because they got to jump into action.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it looks really cool. I also like the fact that it's, you can tell the kids or somebody brought some modern tech involved. Like, it's got the Ecto-1 now has that gunner seat with the ghost trap drone thing. I mean, there's just some cool stuff, man. So I think it's going to be very true to the original film, the first film, with a little bit of the fun and wackiness of the second film. And I truly believe that that's the best of both worlds. And I'm really excited about it. I really am.
Oh yeah, me too. And I think so many sequels and sort of, this is a sequel, but it is more of a reboot in a way, not exactly a reimagining, because it is picking up the story and keep for me. Are you still there? We are having technical difficulties, folks. Are you there?
Hey, did anybody see a ghost?
I know, right? We had an apparition come through the stream.
That was
through
wild.
the yard.
Did you lose me? Did I lose you? Or was it just me? Like what just happened there?
We got a bad connection, folks. We have poltergeists or apparitions, or it might be a stage 4. And if it's a stage 4, we're in trouble.
What if it's like a full-on cross rip and we're just back in New York in '84 and we don't even know it yet?
I don't know, man. That would be kind of cool, actually. I'd be.
It would be. I got to be honest with you. I'd be down with that. I am all for Stay Puft Marshmallow. They can Stay Puft can step on a church in my town, and I'm okay with that.
I would be okay with that sort of alternate timeline, multiverse variant of myself. Because I don't know about you. I'd have fun. I would have fun in the '80s if I could redo it.
I would have fun in the '80s. You know what I'm not okay with? Your bizarre glowing. I don't know what's going on with Baby Yoda there. There's something going on with your Grogu shirt that's very disturbing.
Here's I'm another victim of poor planning this week because I'm in front of a green screen, of course. But Grogu is very green, and this is the best I could do with adjusting the balance of that. So
Okay.
Grogu is just gonna like he's actually our ghost representation this week.
So I like that. So anyway, I'm really excited about this film. I'm really excited about all the things they teased in the trailer. I also noticed a couple of things, like they changed some of the colors of the ghosts from like a green to more of that pinkish purple. That was like when they turned off the containment unit in the first movie, and all the ghosts came blasting out, and it was like purple streaks. They made it look more like the first movie. So anyway, man, I'm really, really excited about it. And yes, I'll be going to the theaters to see it.
Yes, sir.
What's next?
So will I. All right, let's talk about a bit of history. So you had shared an article. We always like to talk about space on this show, but apparently there's an article in Air and Space magazine this week that talks about new evidence that shows that Gus Grissom did not accidentally sink his own spaceship 60 years ago. So why don't you tell everyone sort of the backstory of this, and then we'll talk about the new story.
Well, sure. So when Gus Grissom did his space flight, right? He was the second American in space, and this is a man that had a distinguished World War II military service, post-war civilian employment, Korean military career. This is a man who really knew what he was doing. And so when he did Mercury Redstone 4, Liberty Bell 7, as it's more commonly known during the Mercury era, when he splashed down, his Liberty Bell 7 sank. The door with the explosive bolts opened early, and the ship sank. Now it was recovered many decades later, but for a long time there was belief, as Tom Wolfe put it, and especially as it was shown in the movie, that Gus, quote unquote, screwed the pooch, right? That he made a mistake, hit the button, was jostling around, had things in his pocket, whatever it may have been, that it was his fault the door opened early. Now, I'll be honest with you, I never believed that. I never thought it was true. I always thought, and he said that, and there's a lot of evidence that NASA believed that, because if he hadn't died in the Apollo 1 fire, there's strong belief and whatever evidence, I guess, that he would have been the first man on the moon, first human on the moon. He would have been chosen before Neil Armstrong. So the point is that it got blown up in the media, no pun intended, and there was a lot of belief that it was Gus's fault, because they later recovered the spacecraft, never recovered the door. There is new evidence to state that it was static electricity, that it was not his fault, and that he was right. He was just sitting there, and the door blew, and then it started to sink. And that's what he said, that he was just sitting there, and the door went.
Yeah.
So I was really excited.
When he says, I mean, to his story was like they were shocked that it happened, and as the capsule was filling with water, they had to jump out to avoid drowning, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they said is that there was no bruise on his hand, and that's important because one of his fellow Mercury astronauts, this guy Wally Schirra, at the end of his flight in October of '62, he stayed inside his spacecraft on purpose until it was recovered, and he made a point of deliberately blowing the hatch to show that you got this bruise on your hand because of the effort it took. Was deliberately meant that, like, you can't do this accidentally. You have to actually smash it, which hurts, in order to trigger the door. And Wally Schirra proved that, because they all believe that it's not like you could just turn around, bump into this thing, and the hatch blew. Yeah. So, anyway, I was excited to see this article, and I believe in you, Gus. I always did, buddy. I don't know if you remember this, but you and I saw. Do you see that spacesuit he's wearing? Yep. You and I were about 6 inches from that thing.
I have a wonderful photo of that in the case, and the helmet. One of the photos I think I've used in some of our show promos is the wonderful dome of that helmet that goes with that suit.
Oh yeah.
But even the rescue helicopter pilot now, 60 years later, is somewhat corroborating the story, because he sort of is re-examining his memory, and based on some of the new sort of restored recovery film, he actually agrees with this new account that of when the door blew off or when the bolts blew.
Yep.
Cool stuff. All right.
Fascinating story.
I want to let's switch gears. I want to talk about something that I've worked on in my ample free time here. Want to share a group photo really quick as a shout out. So let me bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm involved with a charity here at work where a group of us here in the Research Triangle, at the local lab here in North Carolina, we've done this charity called Hops for Hope. Going on, I guess this is the 4th year we've done it, and this is our team. This is our 2021 team. It was a little tricky doing it last year, but essentially Hops for Hope is a organization that raises money to provide free flights to kids, to children in need, to fly in a helicopter or a plane to go from their home to a facility, a hospital, a care center, a treatment facility. And they gave over 56 flights so far in the last 12 months, just to give you perspective. And these things are not cheap, right? So what Hops for Hope is it brings together a bunch of corporate teams, pairs them with local North Carolina breweries. We make a custom beer. We do some fundraising. We sample it. We have a big party at the end of the summer where the public can join. You can buy a ticket. And basically, you can try out all these weird, interesting flavors and varieties that different teams have made. There's a judges competition. There's a People's Choice competition. You basically can text in a donation at the event and vote for the People's Choice. So we hope you like what we're brewing. This is a picture of our team at Gizmo Brew Works in Raleigh 2 nights ago, where we were trying to devise what our beer is going to be. So we're working with the brewers to decide what sort of concoction we can dream up for the event that's in September. So we'll put links down underneath, but it's just something that it's fun. It's for a wonderful cause. And if you are in the Triangle area, we want to invite you out to come to some of our fundraisers that we're going to host just with our team between now and September. And then September 25th in North Hills, we're taking over the whole North Hills shopping complex. And it'll be a lot of fun. So I encourage you to check it out.
Ryan, that's really exciting, and I think it's wonderful that you're doing it. I do think it's really cool that I'm assuming that person on the left of the photograph is Bradley Whitford from The Cabin in the Woods, and of course, what was the show? Oh my God, about the president, West Wing. Hello.
Yeah.
He looks like Bradley Whitford.
We have no celebrity guests in the program.
Well, you're a celebrity. You are
hardworking IBMers in the Research Triangle.
You're a celebrity. The only other thing I would like to point out is that when you and I finally have the chance to get back together in person, and I haven't seen you in I don't even know how long, and it breaks my heart, I would like to have a practice session with you to teach you how to properly smile for photographs. Because every time it looks like you just got electrocuted in the back.
Super weird. Yeah, you're right. It's sort of like
we're gonna work on that. Like, what's going on there? What is that?
I'm what they call. I have a face for radio, is what they call it in the biz. So I don't know. I can't explain that.
You're a handsome fellow. We can work on it together.
Honestly, it's like I can't hold a smile long enough, so I end up doing one of those. Whatever.
Sure.
So that's it. So we wanted to talk about. I don't know what this is. I'm going to bring it up on the screen.
Bring it up because it's pretty cool.
You sent me this weird gadget thing, and
it's pretty cool.
I need an explanation. So,
and I think you deserve one.
Yes, sir. All right. We're just having all kinds of technical difficulties today, but here we go.
It's okay. It's the ghosts.
All right.
Hey, anybody see a ghost?
Oh.
Hold on. I'll do it again.
Do it again. Nice. All right. So tell me about the Playdate.
So this is Playdate. So this is a really small little handheld game system. It's got a bunch of brand new games. I like it because of its originality. First of all, I just think it looks cool. I love, it's got that like almost e-paper screen.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how really, really small this thing is. It's like this big. So it's a really small design. It fits in your hand. And you see that thing on the side? See that silver thing on the side?
Yeah.
That is a crank. It's not a
What?
gimmick.
What?
It doesn't charge Playdate's battery. It's not like you wind it to charge the battery. It's actually a form of an analog controller. So there are some games where you have to press things. There are some games where you have to actually crank things, or it'll have like a function within the game. And that was the part where I was like, okay, I need to have this. Now, do I have to $179 have it? Maybe not, but maybe. So I just liked the sort of Game Boy retro sort of sense of it, but I also like the fact that it's just so unique. I mean, the hand crank was really unique. So, I'm always on the lookout for clever handhelds. I always think this stuff is really cool. I have a feeling this is one of those things that I'd probably play at once and then like it would sit and gather dust for 10 years, but I just thought it was really cool and cool enough to share. Now, here's what's really amazing. They sold 20,000 units in like a matter of minutes. Now that's their full run. This is a pre-order, so they've started production but haven't started shipping. I think they start shipping in a couple of months. So it's not like you're like the analog pocket where you have to wait 10 years and pay $900. But I think it ships later this year. But pre-orders placed now. Shipping in 2022. That changed. That's interesting. That changed. Anyway, the point is they sold out of all 20,000 units in a matter of minutes. I did try to get one. I was not fast enough, but I thought that this was cool enough to share. I mean, what do you think, dude? What do you think? Is it gimmicky? Is it silly? Is it cool? What do you think?
I like the retro, like you said, the screen being the e-paper type of screen.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the Game Boy Light, or there's the Game Boy that they put out that was like square, and it would take the old cartridges. And I think those are fun, because the only thing that I question here is it says it requires Wi-Fi. So I guess I don't know if it's streaming games or if you're just downloading from their particular service, maybe.
Game Boy?
I like things that are like, I feel like it would be even better if it was like offline, like if it just took a card, an SD card or something. I don't know. I think I like that it's going to be a platform that has that simple control mechanism, or the addition of the other sort of analog controls. I love that part of it. I just worry about these things if it won't survive. Like when you talk about game ecosystems and game technology, a lot of things just stop working because they're not supported longer than.
So I have to admit that's my concern about Playdate as well. And you're right, there's no physical media. They are games that you download over Wi-Fi, so it is a pretty cool thing. But I share those same concerns that like you buy this, it's not going to have the life of this thing, right? Yeah. This is my original Game Boy. We've covered this in the show before. My point is that I am still buying brand new games for this thing.
Yeah.
People are still manufacturing games, and they look just like the original cartridges. I mean, they are new games for this machine right now. And like you said, there were lots of different versions in life to the Game Boy. Playdate, I don't know, but sometimes with some of these things, for me, it's cool and it's different enough that if it's a one-run fun, I'm cool with that.
Well, in doing like homebrew gaming, with old, you can build cabinets now. You can there are handhelds that take like just the ROMs that you download. I actually think that's smarter, because it's not as easier for like a 5-year-old to do that, but it does have more legs than attaching to some service or some server that is going to go away in 5 years.
Yeah. There's a lot of those and those handhelds that you do yourself, and they're amazing. There's one that I looked at, the RG350. I forget what its name was. Really badass, and it takes effort. Like you got to know what you're doing, and that's cool, I think. But then it's literally like you can download every game ever made for the PlayStation, every game ever made for Atari, every game ever made for, and you have this library of thousands of games.
Yep.
And that also is pretty cool. I don't know how legal it is, but it's pretty cool.
Without a doubt. Alrighty. Well, that is our show for the week, folks.
Wait, I have one more thing.
29:59. Oh, wait. Okay, go ahead.
I have one more thing. I'm
Yeah?
sorry for insulting your smile. You know I love you very much.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
And I'm sure that statement caused you great pain, and it'll come up in therapy.
What do I do? What do I do? Yeah, you're right. We'll talk
But
about it.
We'll talk about it when we get together.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in your performance review. Don't worry. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us for another action-packed episode of WeeksEnd. We'll be back soon. Just want to give you a quick preview of what's coming up. We're going to have Jen back to talk more space stuff. We're going to have a guy named Matt Warfield come on, and we're going to do a bourbon tasting. And when I say tasting, it's not going to be one of these typical happy hour things where Graeme and I are like drinking seltzers. This is going to be the real stuff from Kentucky.
And don't forget, Matt Warfield has a very fascinating family that we will delve into a little bit. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for announcements. Stay tuned to the show. And as always, join us on Friday afternoon. It's just a nerd out. Peace.
Thank you. See you later.